Welcome to the Wellness Wonderland radio, where I share inspirational interviews with the people who inspire me most. Today, I have my beautiful friend, Filippa, of the amazing blog, Raw Tahini. Filippa
Hi.
is an amazing blogger and health coach and just one of the most passionate people I know about wellness in the complete holistic way. So thank you so much for chatting with me, Filippa.
Thank you for having me on. I love your
Yay.
blog too, and you're such an inspiration to women, not only in Detroit, but around the world.
Oh my gosh, you're so sweet. Um, okay, well, I have lots of questions for you, so let's jump right in. How about maybe you could just kind of start off with your background a little bit. I kind of know, but just kind of for our listeners, I know you went through a pretty big career change, but before that, you've been blogging for a long time. So could you just kind of tell us all a little bit about why and how and when you decided to start blogging and kind of how that came about?
Yeah, sure. My journey, I'll give you the short version, is I was that like perfectionist girl. I wanted the best grades because I wanted the best job and had a lot of pressure on myself. So when I got to New York, I got this super PR job, but again, it was very stressful. And so I kind of, turned to food to for comfort and to ease that 12-hour workday. And then one day I woke up and said, this isn't working anymore. I need a better solution. And that's when The Secret came into my life. And they recommended that I do a vision board. And on this vision board, I put healthy for life and the man of my dreams, and I want to travel the world, and basically got everything within 3 months.
Oh,
And
that's amazing. Gives me
yeah,
chills.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, we're way more powerful than we think we are. Um, and so, yeah, the 12 Steps to Raw Food basically fell in my lap a week after doing that vision board
Of course.
by Victoria Butenko. And then I was, gathering all this information in my head about raw food, about this whole lifestyle, and I needed like a source to get it out and to share it with the world. And because my boyfriend was basically getting really tired of hearing about enzymes and natural protein. So, yeah, that's when I started Raw Clarity.
That's amazing, and I can totally relate. Like I didn't start my blog really with the intention of sharing wellness and health with my readers and followers, but it just became that for me because like you said,
Yeah,
it's like when you're passionate about something, all you want to do is share it. And
share it.
whether you're
Yeah.
talking that you're off of your boyfriend or your mom or your family, it's really nice to like have this platform, and I think blogging is like such a great way for us to do that.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's like a conversation because your readers comment and write you little things back, and you just start this bigger dialogue.
exactly. So, who would you say is like your core audience of Raw Clarity?
I think women, and I like to work with women too. I think we are really hard on ourselves. I think most of us has gone on a diet at some point or been mean to our bodies or said something mean and not loved it to 100%. So that's who I've kind of attracted, and I think I had my issues so that I can help women with theirs, similar issues. Um, and usually this is the core group that has this problem.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how it works too. Like we go through what we go through, and this is something that you've taught me, but we go through what we go through to be teachers to other people and to be able to take that experience and share it. And it's hard to teach something that you haven't been through yourself. And I think that's really cool with you and your experience and blog.
Yeah, exactly. So I think sometimes we don't understand why we're in these like dark situations, but after when we step into the light, we have to be thankful for them because they teach us things.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I even in going back to women, I heard this this great quote that if we looked at how most women talk to themselves all day long in the mirror and, oh my gosh, you're so this or you're so this or whatever. And we had that written down. And that was like how someone talked to a child. That child would be like taken away from them to Child Protective Services because it's like so rude and terrible. And I think that's what's so great about your blog is like it's not only what we put in our bodies, but it's what we think and what we feel and what we do. And that's something that I think a lot of people maybe come to your blog for the food and the recipes and the advice of how they want to look, but then they leave your blog with like how they want to feel. And then they realize it's connected. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. And I think that's kind of like, it's developed that way. I think it started as like, oh my God, I have all this amazing information about what raw food does for you and eating healthy does for you. But then it's bigger than that, and as like a holistic health coach, which means holistic means whole, I like to look at the bigger picture. So, are you happy with your career? Or, like, how is your spiritual development? How are your relationships? Are the people that you need to forgive? It's all so connected.
Yeah. And a lot of I didn't realize that at first. And that's something that it's not intuitive to people, but then once they get it. And you're like, I can't feel great about my diet until I feel great about my relationships. And I can't feel great about my relationships till it's like all this big, huge circle, which is like really cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So what advice would you give to other bloggers who are maybe just starting out or thinking about starting a blog?
I think being authentic and seeing that it's a reflection of you and your thoughts and not being afraid that there is someone like you already out there, because there's not. You were put on this earth as you are for a reason. And I think, just get you out there. And it's not expensive, it's like you go to WordPress and, whatever, all those sites are called Fat Cow, and it's like $200. But the investment is nothing compared to what you get back.
Yeah. And I love that. And that's something that you really have taught me, being my biggest mentor in the blog world. And that's something that if I was to give advice for bloggers, when you are not real on your blog, even if you don't think people can tell, they can tell.
They can tell. Yeah.
And I think that's really huge, is being authentic. But then kind of going off of that perfectly brings me to my next question. How do you choose the content that you share on Raw Clarity? And where do you draw the line of what you share and what you keep private, being a public figure and someone that so many girls look up to for advice and help and really real plans and things like that?
I mean, I try to be as real as possible. I think, I'm not perfect. I'm learning along the way. And, 4 years ago, I had I ate 100% raw, and today I, eat probably 80% raw and then more vegetarian options. So I'm changing, I'm learning, and this whole platform is changing because we're getting new information. And, I think just to go back to your question, I think I try to be as real as possible, and usually what I write about reflects what I'm working on or the information that I just learned or, where I'm eating lunch. So I try to be as real as possible and have it reflect my daily routines or, daily aspects and what I'm focusing on.
Yeah, I think that's really great, and that really comes through in your blog. And I've told you this before, but one of my favorite things about your blog is that you show when, one of my favorite, I still remember this post, when you first moved to Sweden and you were having a soy latte, and, you're like, this isn't an everyday food, but it's okay. And it was when I read that, I had this sigh of relief, and I think for so many girls and so many women who read your blog, it's this great sigh of relief when you are real, when you are those times when you are showing sometimes you have to do the best you can in the situation you're
Exactly.
in, and you're okay with that. And that is almost the most inspiring to me than thing that you show than when you have this like amazing 100% raw day, it's
Yeah.
those other things that really are inspiring to me. So I think
Yeah,
that
I mean,
that's
you have to
amazing.
be realistic. You're going to be in situations where you go to someone's wedding or you get treated to something, and it's just like, don't be so hard on yourself. Just, and I always say, like, if you're going to go for something in quotes bad, then enjoy that. You're going to have like a regular brownie. Oh my God, go for it, enjoy it, sense it, smell it, taste it. Like, be in that moment there and
Present.
now.
Yeah.
And then after, don't be mean to yourself. No guilty feelings, no anxiety. No, that's in your like 10%, and you're just going to be nice to yourself about it.
Yeah, I love that. And something else that you taught me that has really stuck with me is and I say this all the time to like my family, my friends, like they probably like know what I'm going to say. If it's going to and this is totally from you, but if it's going to stress you out, eat it. Do it. Like if it's going to stress you out, it's going to make you more acidic than if you hadn't eaten that thing or done that thing or whatever it is. So I really love that, like thinking that in my mind, like if it's going to stress me out to not
Yeah,
eat this, like just eat it, because the stress is worse for your body than whatever you are going to eat. So
exactly. I mean,
I
the end goal of all this is happiness. So do what makes you happy.
I that's like beautiful. That's the tweetable. That's a tweetable.
That's a tweetable.
At Raw
Yeah.
Clarity. But anyways, yeah. So I think that's wonderful with like really focusing on in the moment the best choice that you can make in that moment, whatever that is. And I think
Yep.
that's like a big takeaway here.
Doing the best you can. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. What about like when it comes to your blog? When did you first realize how many people you are helping and how many people are looking up to you? Like when did that really hit you?
I think when like friends of a friend would say like, "Oh, my friend reads Raw Clarity, or she reads Raw Clarity," and I was just like, "Oh, they do," and I was almost like surprised because the goal wasn't like to make it so big. The goal was just like, "Oh, I have this topic that I love, and it's my obsession. And I just want to share it." That end of the story. Period. And then when I actually start meeting people. Like I was in Turks and Caicos in August, and this girl came up to me and she's like, "I read your blog," and I was like, "I'm in Turks and Caicos."
Yeah.
Like this is crazy. What I love about the blog world is that it could be like the readers are everywhere around the world, which is very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's this girl in Israel that wrote me, and we keep in contact, and they're all over the place.
So
So
cool.
it's like, yeah, it kind of brings it all together. With spirituality, we're one, and I just like that we are one with the World Wide Web. We can just reach anyone, anywhere.
Ooh, I love that. That's another tweetable. I love the way, I love that, like using the blog world as like a metaphor for the real world and how, yeah, we really are. And there's no other platform where it really is that way. And that you can reach so many people. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's like infinite. You can put as much info on there as you want, reach as many people as you want. I've actually never done it that way.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like even like with a journalism background, like that's what I loved about blogging, because there's no time limit on your videos. There's no professor that's going to tell me it's too long, or there's no, cutting down my word count or anything like that, which clearly I'm a long-winded person, so I love that part about it. But
yeah, you do what's right for you.
So cool. Well, going back to that like spirituality realm of things then, and we touched on this a little bit with The Secret, but I know that you believe that what you think and being kind to yourself is like crucial for overall health, but have you always thought that way? We touched on that a little bit. You kind of said no, but like when did meditation enter your life, and can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, no, I haven't always thought of that. I have thought, I've had grandparents pass away, and, when I would go on like a light or something, I'd kind of pray like, oh, let me get to my destination, Grandma, in that way. And I always felt like connected when I asked that. Like if I ask them, I don't ask a lot, but if I ask them, they'll help me. I know that. I just knew that. So unconsciously, I kind of was. Mm-hmm. But, I didn't know I was calling upon all my angels in the universe. And not, well, including Grandma, but I didn't know it was that big.
Right.
And I think, that's the reason my blog is called Raw Clarity, because it started with raw food, and then I got clarity in all aspects of my life. We ran if I can say, a pretty successful PR for me and my partner in New York, and from an outside perspective, it probably looked really good. Our clients were Solstice Sunglasses, and we were flying, doing Calvin Klein events in Cannes, and doing, backstage of the Emmys. But yeah, it wasn't really fulfilling. And again, it's like when you're in those situations where you can live a better life, you start asking for it, and solutions start coming to you. And so, yeah, I started asking for my purpose. And then now I'm here, and now that's kind of the way I live my life. Like, very conscious of the way I think, positive affirmations, setting goals, and just having the universe support me. And allowing it to support me.
That's beautiful. That's like, I love that story. It gives me chills. It's so, for me, with you obviously being my mentor, it's great to see someone living their passion so much. And that positive example for me is huge. And all the girls that you inspire like every day on your blog. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I think you just have to see, just like okay, what are my strengths? What are the gifts that Spirit gave me, and what does Spirit want me to do in this lifetime on this earth? And I think it took you a while also to figure that out, but now it's becoming more clear to you. And I think people want answers right away, but there's a divine order, and you just have to be patient and look for the signs, which you did.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing, too, that I'm really passionate about is that flex period. That period of, like, wanting it to happen is really hard. And I think I want to do a little bit more writing and a little bit more about that. Like, I ultimately want to write a book about that, like, in flex period, where people they want it to come, but that's just not the way it works. And that's the way kind of, like, our society has made us think that we need to just have it now, but that's just not how it happens. And that it's not even patience. It's like more than patience. It's like a knowing that you have to get into. And I think that's like a deep thing that's hard for people to wrap their minds around.
Yeah. I think it would be great if you did share your story, because especially that period after college where you're watching your friends get these amazing jobs and moving here and there, and you're like, okay, am I the only one that nothing is happening for? But
exactly.
It's not really like that. And I think, you have a great story there.
Yeah. And it's definitely something that everybody has to just kind of be okay with when it comes, and it all goes back to keeping your mind and body healthy during those flex stages. So and during that stress and during all of it. So I guess getting back to that a little bit, even in times of stress and even in times of just our whole lives are this kind of big up and down. Could you talk a little bit about what you do to keep your mind healthy? And we know a lot of the great things you do for your body and your mind, but maybe like one of your most favorite health routines when it comes to that.
When my life is stressful?
Yeah, like how you kind of calm down.
Well, first I like to see everything as a spiritual lesson. So I have to ask myself, because I'm constantly wanting to be a better person and develop my spirit, is asking, what do I need to learn from this?
Nice.
And that usually just gives me clarity, because you don't just stand there and be like, oh, what do I need to learn? And it's not coming to me. It's not coming to me. It usually comes. Is it judgment? Is it forgiveness? Is it self-love? like those answers float up pretty quickly, even if we don't want to hear them. That's another thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I try to see what is it I need to learn, and then I kind of develop that into an affirmation. So, you know, if I'm finding, well, it has been a while since I fought with a friend, but say that as an example, you know, then I know I need to learn forgiveness, and so then I can create an affirmation saying that I'm willing to forgive. It's a lot along, you know, Gabby Bernstein. I think she's such a good and great inspiration.
We love her.
We love her. Yeah, we love her a lot. And also the word willing makes it easier to not say, oh, I forgive her. No, I'm willing to forgive her. That just opens up the door, and just no pressure.
Yeah.
Just, you know, I need help to forgive that person. But, yeah, so I like to see what is it that I need to learn, then create kind of like an affirmation, because then every time that nasty thought or that ego starts like an uproar, I can just calm it down by saying that affirmation. And then just having enough love for my body to not take it out on, you know, bad food. And I think that takes time for people to get to that point. But if you start working on it, you're going to get better and better.
That was so good. Yeah, and I love what you said about making that affirmation about the situation. And that's something that also takes time, like figuring out how to write those affirmations and how to like get that wording right. But I think really right now for people is to just not really get wrapped up in the writing of it, but just doing it, it and doing something. And I'll post this link below, or I'll post this affirmation below, but I heard this great one for Louise Hay that's kind of this, like, I call it like my all-purpose affirmation.
Oh, we like those.
Yeah. And it just goes like this. It's just whenever like your mind is going on something, just say this right away, and it like lets you know, spirit come in and just kind of take over before your ego can like go crazy. And it's just all is well. Everything is working out to my highest good. Out of this situation, only good will come, and I am safe. And like all that affirmation is so like perfectly crafted because, you know, the all is well, like tells your mind like it's okay. And then everything is working out to my highest good is that really cool understanding of like this situation, even though it seems like crap now, is actually a good thing. And that's really cool. Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's perfect. Yeah, make sure you post that. Yeah, I'll definitely post that below. Okay, just a couple more things. So I just want to touch on quick. So now you are a health coach, and how and why did you decide to start coaching people? And how has that kind of been in your life? How is that? What has that kind of done for you? Like clearly you're helping people so much, but how does it make you feel? I think like everyone, I was looking for happiness. I learned a lot from the PR job, so I see why I had that because, you know, I opened up my own business. I learned, you know, the inner workings of marketing and media and PR and everything. So I can bring that now to my next stage in life. But I was just noticing how I would run home from work to blog. Like that's what made me happy. And I can relate. You can relate. Yeah. And it just dawned on me, like, why am I not doing what I love? And so I had this affirmation when I worked with one of my mentors, which I've told you about before, Katie Megan Watterson in New York. And she has a women's group called Red Ladies, and also a little promotion for her. She just has a new book out called Reveal, which is awesome. But amazing. We'll put a link to that below as well. Yes, perfect. But getting back on topic is we created these affirmations, and it's very cool to work with anyone in a group because it kind of just strengthens your affirmation when you're like really saying it to everyone and sharing your progress. But mine was I live my life's purpose, and slowly but surely just things would pop up. Like, you know, my fiance Stefan came home and was like, do you think we should move? Like, do you want to live in New York? And I was like, of course I do. Maybe I don't, you know. And
I just did, through this whole process of changing, I just felt an inner peace. And I know that if I help the world and service is my number one focus, then the universe will support me. And it has. And so this has been a very, very easy journey for me to, sell LFB and move here. I mean, I did one blog post and I had 25 clients within a month. So it's
crazy.
I'm in the flow and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And I think that's for like anyone that's listening today, is if you do what you love and you do what you're meant to do and you're helping the world towards peace and balance, then know that you'll be fully supported no matter what.
That's another good one. That's another tweetable. You're full of them today.
Yeah, you just have to trust. And I don't know who said this quote actually, but one of my favorite things is that if it doesn't turn out the way you planned, it's going to be even better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's how I trust. So like, now I'm looking for an apartment. We haven't found one yet. I saw one that I really liked. It wasn't the one. Okay, you know what? There's one that's really good waiting for me out there.
Oh yeah. I know it. Next time I talk to you, you're gonna be like, there was even a better apartment.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. So you can apply that to all your life, to anything in your life. Like when things don't go well, being like, there's an even better plan. So just chill.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's beautiful.
And I think, that's what the world kind of had in store for you too. I know you want to like move to New York or do this, and maybe I should do that and go. But there was like an even better plan for you.
Yeah, it's all order and it's all baby steps leading to what is best for you. And I think that's it's hard to understand at first, but once you do it, like everything seems a little bit calmer.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Well, just a couple more things, but getting back to food a little bit here. Okay, I have a little challenge. I'm going to give you a little scenario. Okay?
Go for it.
Okay, so it's 8 p.m. You've had a long day. You're super tired. Like no patience to wait for something. What do you eat/make? Like what is your go-to evening meal if you don't have much time?
Ooh, that I make?
Yeah, or that you pick up, or that you something that you would eat.
Okay, well, in New York, that would be a falafel salad at One Lucky Duck, but now I live here in Sweden where there's like one raw place open from basically like 10 to 4 p.m. So,
oh man, more like what I'm dealing with here.
Yes, yeah, I get it. My go-to is always avocado because an avocado has a lot of protein and good omega-3 fatty acids, so it's going to keep you full. So I use that kind of as my base. So either just like that, I throw like tomatoes and sun-dried tomatoes and do like a little mix of that, or I throw it on top of a bigger salad, or I kind of just like work with that because that's going to take you like 5 minutes to make anything. So it's like, okay, what do I have in my fridge, and then just mix it with avocado.
Nice. Yeah, that's definitely my go-to too. It's the best vegetable ever. Nature's butter.
Nature's butter. It's so amazing.
So good.
Like there's nothing better than opening up the perfect avocado. Let's be real.
Beautiful. Like, oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
The best. Okay, so like staying kind of on the topic of food, how do you balance your relationships in this lifestyle? Like I know, and for our listeners too, like your fiance doesn't eat the exact same way that you do. And this is common for a lot of us. I know it's common for me with like the people in my life. Like what advice, and I know you've given me great advice on this, but what advice do you have for us on how to balance that? I know you told me once that it doesn't really matter like what you're eating, just that you're eating together sometimes, and that's important. So can you talk a little more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you got to stay true to yourself because you won't enjoy the meal if you're eating something that you don't like. And I think the most difficult part is the beginning when people are like, why are you eating that? Or, just like asking you a million questions and you're like, I know it's good for me, but maybe I don't have all that information. So stock up on knowledge. If someone asks you, like, why don't you eat meat? Then have like a backup, because that will make it easier for you to explain and easier for them to understand.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Because you
And
can
like
feel like you're getting quizzed, which just doesn't feel good when you're trying to have a relaxing dinner.
right. So you just have that backup information, and usually it's around protein or
Oh, yeah.
animals or something along those lines. So just like, have that information in your head so that you feel comfortable explaining why this is your lifestyle. Not just like, oh, it makes me feel good and I read Kimberly Snyder's book.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really important what you said. Like, the important thing is not like the food. If you're going to like a social gathering or when you eat with your family, it's about you guys being together. And sharing the love and the conversations and the laughter, that's what's really important. And I think, like I said, in the beginning, you're going to get a million questions, but then after a while, and we've talked about this too, Katie, you're going to lead by example, and they're going to be like, oh, this is her way. I respect her, and she looks great, and she looks so healthy, and I kind of want to be like that. So then, after a while, they might start following you.
Yeah. And it's crazy how that happens. Like, you might think that will never happen with my family.
I know, you never did. Remember?
One day it just does.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how it happens. And it's like, you really just have to kind of concern yourself with you at first. And then you, to the point where you can't just concern yourself with you because you're so passionate and people are seeing how happy you are that you have to share. And I think it just is kind of like this natural transition. But I really liked what you said there about like arming yourself with knowledge and like just kind of having it in your tool belt, because for me, a lot of times it's like, why am I not eating this again? Like, I don't even remember. And it's like, wait, like you need to kind of know that, just not to be able to tell someone, but even just for your own sanity to know I'm choosing to do this because of this great thing.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, you read that article by Dr. Mercola, but you can't exactly like pinpoint what he said, but you know that he had a good argument for not eating cheese,
Yeah.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah, and that's huge.
Yeah, so just try to stick to some facts that they can relate to, whatever that may be. But yeah.
Like going off of that, what's the biggest nutrition misconception that you kind of feel like you're always having to clear up for people?
Ooh, there's so many. I think one is just like, people think we need so much protein. Yeah. And yes, that is the building blocks and muscles and you need protein. But, if you're not training for anything or going crazy, just take it easy. Every food has protein in it. So just keep that in mind. And then if you are working out, I think a great way to up the protein is just like throwing things in your smoothie. Anything from spirulina to hemp seeds. Mm-hmm. So it's that protein myth, and also the kind of the calcium myth in dairy products.
Yeah.
Our bones need more than calcium. It's kind of become this hype and propaganda around this dairy got milk agenda. Yeah. There's other ways to get that for sure, and it's kind of funny. Like here in Sweden, everyone drinks so much milk. It's like the kids get asked, "You want milk or water for dinner?" Everyone's drinking milk. Yeah.
Even more so than America. That's
oh my God, way more. Yeah, it's so dairy heavy here. But the funny thing is that they have the highest rate of osteoporosis.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, okay, when are we gonna start understanding these correlations?
Yeah. Wow, that's really interesting because here, that's one thing that, if I was asked that question, that's what I would say, that dairy myth, people are, of course the protein thing, people just don't realize that protein doesn't have to come from animals, but the dairy thing that like so many people truly believe that they're doing something healthy for their body with dairy and getting off dairy is probably the single healthiest thing that someone can do, because as humans we just really weren't meant to consume it, and just people don't really get that. So I think that's really interesting.
It's just thinking logically, like, okay, the the milk is produced for the calf, so the calf can grow like double size in a year.
Exactly.
And then we're drinking that. Yeah.
Yeah. And like we're the only species that drinks the milk of another species. That's crazy, first of all. And then this milk has all these growth hormones to grow a tiny, tiny calf to be a huge, massive animal.
Yeah.
We don't need that. Like, we need it when we're trying to build a baby to be a toddler, but that's it. And and it's just crazy, but we could go on about that all day. But I guess
we can go on and on. Yeah, and then it's fascinating though. And then you look at like what a cow eats. A cow eats grass. A cow eats greens, and it's huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, we could talk about this all day.
Yeah, we could go on for a long time. Yeah, we like that topic.
Yeah, but anyways, my last, I've got some rapid fire questions to wrap up with, and we'll get to those in a second. But my biggest last nugget of a question is this: what are you most excited about in your life right now? And what's kind of talk about what's next for you and your projects and ideas and everything, but then also maybe touch on, this is kind of a loaded question, but also touch on what you're doing in your life that you're afraid of, but you're doing anyways and challenging yourself with.
Ooh.
I know, I was loaded.
Yeah, it was loaded. But it's good. It's good. Well, I'm in a whole new place and a new culture, so just the way I express myself is a little bit different here. It's just it's not toning myself down, but it's just a different culture. Everyone's a little bit just more quiet. I don't know if any of you have ever been to Sweden, but it's just figuring out the best way to get my message across here. Mm-hmm. And what's going to resonate and what's going to work. And it's just the type of venues I choose and the words I say and, I think that's kind of like my challenge of figuring that out. But that brings it to kind of the next challenge is it's not really up for me to figure it out either. If this is this is way out there, makes sense. I've kind of surrendered that to spirit.
Yeah.
And so that's the challenge too, because I want to belong and I want to do this, and then it's kind of saying okay, chill, again, divine order, step by step. We're going to give you all the tools that you need and tell you how to express yourself. So it's kind of just, that is a challenge for me, just holding on and waiting it out, and just focusing on making myself stronger here and figuring out my routines. It's a whole new world here. It really is. It's very different.
Yeah. Cool. So do you want to just quickly tell our listeners kind of about your current projects and kind of where they can find you? Obviously, rawclarity.com, and then also your are you still taking on new clients?
Yes, I am. So if you go to rawclarity.com/coaching, that's where you'll find all the information about my holistic health coaching program, which is a 6-month program where we speak twice a month, either on the phone or in person, and either one works just as good.
Yeah, cool. And then you're also getting married. Congratulations on that. Are you getting excited for the wedding?
Oh yeah, very. It's so funny. The caterer that we worked with was like, "Are you gonna have everything raw?" I'm like, "If I have, everyone's gonna get really, really drunk."
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I'm like, we'll skip that part. And Stefan likes his meat, so we'll do that. But yeah, I'm planning a wedding, so it's just a really exciting year. And we talked about this before, Katie, how 2013 is just a lot of positive changes for everyone.
Oh, yeah. I love that. So will you have raw options at the wedding?
Yeah, I think we'll mix and match a little bit. Yeah,
I think that's the perfect thing is finding that balance. I think that's the perfect idea.
Yeah, and maybe I'll put some little raw gifts in the goodie bags, and I'll get my Filippa touch in there.
Yeah, just opening people up to it, and that's the greatest thing about you. And I just really want to say that before we wrap up is that Filippa is so great about making raw and not even just raw, but making healthy living and this like really cool way of life. It doesn't have to be like, you know, hippies eating berries in the corner. You can be living your life, and you can wear high heels, and you can do your hair and still be healthy and holistic and happy. And I think that's like really the greatest thing I've learned from you.
Yeah. I'm glad that you said that, because that's a very important part of my message, is that you don't have to fall into the typical vegan stereotype. You can be yourself. You can love clothes. You can love going out dancing and still take care of yourself.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, just before we wrap, I'm going to do a couple rapid fire questions. So just say the first thing that comes to your mind, okay? This is going to be really fun. Okay. All right. Favorite color?
White. I know it's not a color, but it's still white.
No, I love it. Favorite fruit?
Mango.
It's like choosing your kids, right?
I know. That was a hard one.
Favorite veggie?
Ooh, broccoli.
Ooh, I thought you were going to say avocado. Or is that technically a fruit?
That's technically a fruit. So actually that should have been /mango/avocado before. But that's like in the gray zone. That's a hard one.
Yeah, that's definitely hard. Okay. Yeah. Juice or smoothie?
I actually prefer smoothie.
Okay.
Because I can get more in there. I can throw in more ingredients.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah.
Let's talk fats now. Avocado or raw tahini? If you had to choose,
Ooh, avocado.
I know you like tahini too, so that's good.
Yeah, but just avocado is just nothing beats it.
I know. I would definitely agree on that.
But I love my tahini also. Yeah, there's I get it if anyone's ever in Miami at Glacier Farms. They have this raw tahini in Coconut Grove, right? Well, it's in Miami, but yeah, it's awesome.
It's like heaven. She always posts about it on the blog, and every time I want to like teleport there. It looks amazing.
It's awesome. Only open on Saturdays if you're in that area. But,
if I'm ever in Miami, which I'm going to be someday soon, it's the first place I'm going.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Yeah. Okay, last question. Coconut or almond milk?
Almond milk.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah. How about you?
Well, that's all I have for you, Filippa. Thank you so much for being on the Wellness Wonderland radio, and this was so much fun. I just have to say,
we should do this more often.
Yeah, like I just love talking with you. I want to do this all the time. So, will you come back on the Wellness Wonderland radio sometime?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like, this is usually how our conversations go, and yet today we're recording. But yeah, no, thank you so much for having me on, and anyone that follows Katie's blog, keep an eye on her. I've always said that, but she's going to blow up and be very, very big one day, and it's already inspiring a lot of people out there.
Oh my gosh, you're so sweet. My heart is like warmed. I could cry.
Yeah, but you are. You have, you are such a delight, and you have a big purpose.
Oh, well, thank you. You've opened me up so much and inspired me so much, and just been probably one of my greatest mentors of my life. So I really, really thank you.
Yeah, we were meant to meet.
For sure. All right. Well,
thank you for having me on.
Yes. Have a wonderful day, Filippa and everyone, and we will talk to you soon. Okay. Lots of love.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.